Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our political insider. Sanctuary cities are now becoming sanctuary states. You could say goodbye to California. Democrats move to block the Supreme Court pick no matter who it is. They don't even care. They just said we're going to block it no matter who it is. They're also taking task with cabinet picks as we watch the Democrat Party implode and flat out embarrass themselves. Now, with 20 Senate seats up in 2018, how defensive or offensive can Democrats propose to be? Democrats have said they don't care who it is. It could be Hillary Clinton. They're gonna oppose whoever it is that Donald Trump puts forth as a Supreme Court nominee. They're also saying that they're fighting a couple of his cabinet picks. How much leverage do the Democrats have right now?
I think that the least that I've ever seen. I think that the point is when they have a man like Schumer as the head of the Senate, and of course Pelosi, she's already written her epitaph as far as a political figure of consequence. They even talk, even thinking about Bernie Ellison from Minnesota.
Keith.
Is it Keith?
Yeah, you might hear Bernie Sanders, Keith Ellison.
Yeah, okay, Keith Ellison, thank you for correcting me.
Elizabeth Ellison, they're all the same, basically.
Yeah. Well, the guy he's an avowed Muslim. And to even consider him as the upcoming chairman of that party just tells you how desperate they are.
Well, you've got that other woman that wants to be the chairwoman.
Yeah, I know.
Came out and said her goal and her job would be to shut up white people. I mean, how irrelevant do these guys want to be here?
I just don't even. To me, I don't want to get into that subject in depth because I feel very strongly. You know, once you have been freed by the Civil Rights Act in 1964-65.
Which the Democrats fought, by the way.
I know, well, sure, because the South was all Democrat at that time. But the point is now to go from having been victimized by white people, they are now trying to victimize the white people themselves rather than saying, listen, we're glad we have gotten our position in society that we have today. And to even look favorably at a man like Al Sharpton, the biggest liar that ever was on TV, and that tells me what MSNBC is all about when they have a guy like Al Sharpton as a commentator.
So with that many Senate seats up in 2018, and it does not look very promising. The bench for the Democrats is almost non-existent.
It is non-existent.
You might have Cory Booker, which they may think is their next star.
Mr. Newark.
Yeah. How defensive or offensive can they be in trying to stop anything?
They don't think about that right now. When you engage in the negativity that the Democratic Party is engaging in, you see nothing positive. You see complaints. You see don't go to the inauguration. You go screaming through the streets. That does not. The real Americana came out to vote on November the 8th, and they didn't tell the pollster who they're going to vote for. They just went out there and voted. And I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud to say that the same kind of America that we had 40, 50 years ago still exists today.
And interesting that under Harry Reid, they changed the filibuster law so that it could get down to 51 votes. And now that may come back to bite them on the butt, where a normal Republican, a normal check pants, country club, wimpy, weak-kneed Republican, which most of them are, would have buckled. I don't think that Trump's going to buckle, and I don't think he's going to let him off the hook. What do you think?
I think you answered your own question. I agree with you 100%.
So if it only takes 51 senators to pass, now it does for Supreme Court, it takes more.
Yeah, I understand
it takes 60.
That. Yeah.
I don't think that they can get 6 or 7 Democrats to go along with them, do you?
You mean for the Supreme Court? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think this is going to be a long, drawn-out affair. I think they're not going to the thing could be hung up indefinitely.
And as we said on the last show, you don't have to have 9 Supreme Court
That's
justices.
true.
You can have as many as you want. Congress determines how many you
Well,
have.
this could be a matter in 2 years when they have the senatorial elections. And this may be a benefit for the Republicans that this has not been resolved. And they say we need another 5, 6 senators, which they probably will get anyway, because there's a lopsided number of Democrats up for re-election in 2 years from now.
Okay, the great state of California that we live in and love
It's our state.
now wants to become a sanctuary state, and there's talk about breaking the state up. I don't think that's going to happen, although it wouldn't bother me if we had a Northern California and Southern California, because there really is 2 Californias. If you go above Bakersfield, it's a completely different mindset
I know
than
that.
Orange County and Riverside County
I've never
and San
seen
Bernardino.
any state become so totally Democrat in the last 20, 30 years. We used to have mayors that were Republicans. We used to have Congress people to some extent that were Republican.
We had Reagan going back one generation.
Yeah, exactly. Even Schwarzenegger was a joke. He was just an entertainer. But the point is, there's also, they say that a third of people in California want to secede from the United States. Now, that's not going to happen. I mean, this is a joke. I mean,
If it did, the Democrats would never win another presidential election as long as it goes.
Well,
just like if Texas were to secede, same thing for the
but
Republicans.
I think that's so far-fetched, it's not worth even discussing.
So what about a split between the state? Is that worthy of discussion?
It's not going to happen. When you talk about a split between the states,
Because you're going to see a fight between California and the Trump administration.
yeah, I know
They
that.
say they're not going to send federal taxes, and he's not going to back sanctuary cities. So if he starts withholding federal funds from California,
He will withhold funds from the cities that are sanctuary cities, but those sanctuary cities are Chicago, they're New York.
San Francisco,
Yeah.
Los Angeles.
That's right. I don't think there's going to be any change in the United States of America as it exists today. There will be a change in tactics that's used by the president to put them back on their heels, but you're not going to see any, as Lincoln said, a house divided to itself cannot stand. And I think the United States cannot afford to divide itself, and it won't be
And if
divided.
you look at the Congress that withheld from the inauguration, the majority of them were from California.
Yes, we know that. California has 38 million people. They have more population than all of Canada put together.
And we're losing people by the day.
We are, but somehow we still have 38 million people.
They happen to be coming up from the South.
I don't know where they're... By the way, do you know what's going to be the biggest minority in this country within 30 years?
No.
Asiatics. There's huge expansion of Asiatics in this country.
Oh, okay. But they won't be a minority. They'll be a majority eventually.
No, I didn't say they're a majority. I think they're going to be, instead of the blacks being the largest minority, it's going to be, or Hispanics.
Which is right now the Hispanics.
Yeah, it's going to be the Asiatics.
And not far behind them, the procreating Muslims, which are putting 8 to 10 children out per family.
By the way, the average American family today has really reduced its ability to produce.
Yeah. We need to take a short pause, but don't go far. Our moment in history is on tap. With all this talk about immigration, American values, whatnot, we actually will talk with an immigrant firsthand and his own recounts of experience with migrating to America. Our history segment, next.